It's going to suck when you start. That's fine. It's never perfect when you start. The first iPhone is nothing close to the version of the iPhone that we have right now. You cannot be waiting for the version of, like, you know what perfection looks like. And oftentimes perfection is a thing that gets in the way of us starting. What is the 2% thing you can do today? Pick that 2% thing and do it. Don't let today pass without you having done the 2% thing on the idea that has come to you. Okay, my name is Ida. I am currently in Canada. I wasn't born and raised here. I was born and raised in Cameroon. Accountant, financial coach, a lot of that. But I'm here today because empowerment is a thing that is on my heart. So you are all here today because you know that you are worthy. But the question I have for you is, do you believe that you are worthy? Knowing is not enough. You got to know. You got to believe it. And you have to take action on it. Once upon a time, I heard about a group of people in a village where they were praying for rain. It's been a long, long time and there was no rain in that village. And they were saying, hey, we want to pray for rain. We want to pray for rain. We want to pray for rain. And so they said, let's gather in the community field. We are going to pray for the rain and we believe that the rain is going to come. And so everybody in the village gathered out and they went to the field to pray. But only one little boy came with an umbrella. So the people were going to pray for rain, but nobody showed up with an umbrella. So did you believe that it was going to rain, or you were just going there to fulfill a thing that's like, yeah, let's go pray. Okay, let's go pray. If you believe it's going to rain, you would have come with an umbrella. One little boy showed up with an umbrella, and that's the only boy who believed that what he was saying was true. So we are here because we know. Do we believe? That's a question for each and every single one of you. And now, if you believe you are worthy, the next thing for you to do is to take action on it. God has to break it down to build it up, and your challenges are there to prepare you for the next level. So when you believe, that's one ingredient that you need for your action. You need to believe, and then you need to take your life experiences as the fuel that you need in order to take action on the things that are in your heart. The first thing is you have to do something which is called the 2% difference. When you have an idea, ask yourself immediately, what is the 2% thing I can do right now to start acting on that idea? What is the 2% thing that I can do? Don't think about the full 100%. You're wasting your best energy on planning. What is the 2% thing you can do today that is going to start the ball rolling? It's not about choosing the name of the foundation. That's not it. It's not about choosing the location of the office. That's not it. What is the 2% thing you can do today? Pick that 2% thing and do it. Don't let today pass without you having done the 2% thing on the idea that has come to you. The second thing, it's a rule, which is the 5-95 rule. 5-95 means do 5% of planning and 95% of action. 5% of planning, 95% of action. Oftentimes, and this is something that is like the reality for most people. Let's say you have the idea that, hey, I want to create a business that is going to do XYZ, or I want to start a podcast, and this podcast is going to be about whatever thing it's supposed to be. You want to start a podcast. Here's what people do. Hey, what's going to be the name of the podcast? How often am I going to be doing episodes of the podcast? Who are the guests going to be? No. You're wasting your entire time planning all the way out. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast, you've been thinking about starting a YouTube show, you've been thinking about starting a Facebook show, whatever it is, 5% action right now. Take out your phone, go on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever and say, hey, I have this idea. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but I want to start a show. And this is what it's going to be about. This is what it's going to be talking about. If you think you would be a great guest for my podcast, if you think you would be a great guest for my show, send me a message and I want to talk to you. That's 5%. After that, you will push yourself to take action on the next thing because of what? You have committed to starting. You have started. 2% action was the first thing I talked about. Now, 2% difference is what is the first 2% of that? The 5-95 rule is 5% planning, 95% of acting. Do it. And here's the thing. It's going to suck when you start. That's fine. It's never perfect when you start. If you have an Android phone, you have an iPhone. The first iPhone is nothing close to the version of the iPhone that we have right now. You cannot be waiting for the version of, like, you know what perfection looks like. And oftentimes perfection is a thing that gets in the way of us starting. Let's say you want to write a book and you have always been reading books. You know what a good book looks like. And so you think when you start writing today, your book is going to be as perfect as Danielle Steele's books. She has been writing forever, but her first book is nowhere as nice as her most recent book. So when you are starting, expect to suck. But it's only when you start that you're going to be able to see, hey, what is it I need to improve on? Start, expect to suck, and start anyway. And let me tell you a story how I started my podcast. My first podcast, okay, here is how it started. I had a friend reach out to me on Facebook. My cousin, actually, she used to do a Facebook show where she would invite people to talk about different things. And so she reached out to me, she said, Ida, I want to bring you as a guest on my show. I'm like, I've never done a Facebook Live before. I am scared. What are you talking about? She said, no, it's just going to be a conversation between you and me. These ideas are already in your head. You already know those things. I just want you to come and talk about it. I'm like, okay, please prepare me. Like, what questions are you going to ask? She said, I'm not sending you any question. I'm going to ask you questions live on the show. Whatever. I was like, okay, let's do it. And my heart was going like boom, 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 boom in my chest. But for me right now, I know that when my heart is going boom, 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 it means there's something that I'm actually excited about that I need to act on, but I'm trying to let fear hold me back. So it's about, hey, don't let fear hold you back. Do the thing. So she invited me to her show. And then I got onto the show. It ended up being amazing because we had a conversation about financial education and I was just talking to her. It ended up just feeling like a conversation. But guess what? Right after that show, the feeling was so amazing that the following week I said, you know what? I'm going to start doing my own Facebook Live. And so I reached out to a lady here in Montreal whom I had already helped with her finances. And I said, you know what? This thing that I have done with you, there are a lot of people who need the same thing, but they don't know what it is like. I want to bring you on my Facebook show. She's like, what's the show? I said, I don't know. I don't have a name yet, but I want us to go on Facebook Live and just have this conversation. So what are we going to be talking about? I said, well, we're just going to talk about what I did for you, just so you can share your experience. She's like, okay. So we got on the first Facebook show, and I was still trying to figure out how the whole thing works. And during the show, I asked her a bunch of questions and she answered. We were both very nervous. We were like, you know what? We'll do this thing. By the end of that show, when it was one, I was like, okay, the time is up. We're going to wrap up the show. Now, right after that, she came back to me. She's like, it didn't even feel like 1 hour. I can't believe that 1 hour already went by. I didn't have a name for the show. I didn't have anything yet. But the feeling in me was like, hey, this is exciting. This is interesting information I've shared with people. I want to continue doing this. It wasn't perfect. It was far from perfect. But I took that information. The message was there. The heart was there. And I put out the information. And that ended up on my YouTube channel. That ended up on as a podcast. And the very next, after we finished that conversation, I said, you know what? I think I want to keep doing this. And that was when I chose a name for it. But if I had sat there to say, hey, let's think about this entire thing. How often is it going to be? What are we going to be talking about? This. The best energy of the process would have gone into planning. And by the time you're planning, your brain starts to tell you, hey, you're not good enough. What are people going to say? What are you going to be talking about? What is this? What is that? And the thing that holds us back is because we are afraid of what people are going to say. We're actually afraid to fail in front of people. And as long as you're afraid to fail in front of people, you're going to stay stuck exactly where you are. Just put it in your head. It doesn't matter whether I fail or I don't fail. I am trying. And the more you try, the more you're going to be able to go from those ideas into action. And it's the more you do that, then you're going to start seeing what are the things that are working, what are the things that are not working. And you can tweak, modify, and change as you go. But if you're waiting for perfection, you will never know what would have been a good idea. The next thing is to commit to someone right away. Immediately you have an idea. Commit to a person who is going to hold you accountable. Commit to a person that you would listen to. If you have a best friend, usually encourages you to do stuff. When you have that idea, call her up. Hey, I'm thinking about starting a foundation. I want to start a foundation in this and this and this place. I'm thinking of it as a 2-year project, for example. I want you to hold me accountable, check in on me, make sure I'm doing this thing. It should be a friend who actually wants to see you succeed. You commit to them, give them the power to question you when you haven't done the thing that you said you were going to do. So commit to someone right away. The next thing is you need to elevate your environment. Say, for example, you are deciding that you want to, or a great example, you're deciding that you want to lose weight, for example. The first thing is not to sign up for a gym membership. That's not the first thing. Because when you start thinking about, I want to go sign up for a gym membership, you start to think, hey, but which gym am I going to go to? How much is it going to cost me? How often can I go? Oh, my program doesn't allow for this. Oh, what will people say? I'm too fat to be in the gym. Your brain brings all those things to you. If you've made the decision that you want to lose weight, get up from your seat, stand up, do 10 squats. You'll be more proud of yourself for doing those 10 squats than for registering to a gym membership that you would never even go to. Start right away. The thing I was talking about, elevating your environment, it's easier for you to follow through on something you've said you're going to do if you arrange your environment in a way that it allows for it. So if you decide, for example, that you want to be healthier, if you put healthy things around your house, the moment you feel like eating something, your environment allows for that decision you've made. You want to lose weight, you want to be healthier. Put the things around you that are going to support that decision you've made. Immediately the idea comes to you, start putting the things in place. And you need to find something that gets you into the mood of always wanting to do the action that you're making the decision to take. For me, sometimes it's music. Some people here, it's going to be like music, right? So find something that inspires you to do the thing that you want to do. And the most important part of this, the last but most important one is your intentions. Remember your intentions. So if you have decided that you want to do something, you need to attach that decision to an emotion. You need to think about the intention that is behind this thing. Let that intention drive your actions. If you can attach an emotion to that outcome that you're trying to get, then every single day that you are not acting on that thing, it should tear you into pieces because you should be feeling like, hey, I know I could be doing this thing, but I'm not doing it because of all the excuses that I'm giving myself. Oh, I don't have the time for it. Oh, I don't have the finances for it right now. Oh, I don't have whatever excuse you're giving yourself. And this is for everybody. Whatever excuse you're giving yourself, your excuses are very valid. But those excuses are not going to take you anywhere closer to your intentions. They're not going to take you anywhere closer to the outcome that you're trying to get. And it's Henry Ford who said this: whether you think you can do it or you think you cannot do it, you're right. Your brain is going to help you to find more of the thing that you believe in. Think about when you want a car and you have researched the car that you want. And now you're driving down the street. You start to see so many of that same car that you have thought you want to buy. Is it because all of a sudden there's so many people driving that car? No, it's because you have communicated to your inner self that this is what is important to me. And so your brain starts to find more of those things that you have attached an emotion to. Create an intention, attach an emotion to it, and your brain is going to help you to do that thing that you have said you want to do. Oftentimes we think that the people who have the information don't want to share, but the truth is most people who are actually successful in doing the thing that they are doing, they are so willing to share the information, you will be surprised. So actually find somebody who you admire, who is doing the thing that you want to do, and say, you know what, I want to learn from you. This is the goal I have. This is what I want to do. What do you think I can be doing right now? Let them teach you. Be coachable, exactly. So find somebody who is doing what you want to do. Ask them that question. Find 10 people. I don't know. If the first person doesn't work, go to the second person. If it doesn't work, go to the third, until you find a person who can answer the questions that you have. But that's something you can do today.